Hello guys, it's Teenage DC Fan back in another video, and a girl named Sue, this recent episode of The Flash, marks the introduction of two characters who seem like they'll be important for this season's endgame. First, there's the long-awaited debut of Sue Dearborn, who is destined to become the Great Sue Dibney, if the show adheres to canon, but who says it has to, honestly. And then we also meet Eva McCulloch, the missing founder of McCulloch Tech, who's trapped on the other side of a mirror because the particle accelerator explosion is the gift that keeps on giving 6 years later. So both stories land in predictable yet intriguing places that make me excited for what's to come. So let's dive in. First up, Sue Dearborn. Ralph gets an alert on his computer that Sue used her credit card to purchase an apartment. And when he shows up at the building, he comes face to face with Sue as she dives out of the exploding apartment and saves Ralph from the blast. And if that entrance wasn't enough to leave an impression, there's also the amazing and excellent performance by the actress here. Sue is sarcastic, quick-witted, and she and Ralph, their on-screen chemistry together, it crackles from their first scene together. This is definitely one of the Flash's better introductions. But from there, the duo return to Ralph's office, and Sue explains that she's been on the run from her murderous and arms-dealing boyfriend, John Loring, and she claims that she returned to Central City intent on finding evidence that could put Loring away forever. Feeling chivalrous, of course, Ralph volunteers to help her, also because he promised her parents that he'd bring her home safe. So he's going to help her, even though she makes it very clear that she doesn't need his protection. Sue follows that up with action by saving Ralph from one of Loring's goons, who found Ralph snooping around in Loring's warehouse. And that night, though, the bantering pair break into Loring's warehouse office and find a safety deposit box key when Loring's henchmen happen to find them. Ralph reveals he's the elongated man to Sue and uses his powers to help them escape, which seems to impress her, and now they've gained each other's trust, or at least that's what we're supposed to think at this point. So, with the key in hand, Sue and Ralph break into Central City Mercantile Bank in hopes of finding Loring's ledger. Instead, they find an expensive-looking diamond, and that's when Sue reveals she's actually a cab burglar and has been playing Ralph because she needed his help to acquire the diamond. And I love this twist because it both honors and diverges from the canon. Like, sure, Sue isn't a thief in the comics, but Elongated Man did meet her while pretending to search for jewelry thieves. So there's kind of a parallel there that Matt fits in there. But furthermore, the twist sets Sue on an arc similar to the one Ralph went on when he was first introduced by asking if there's hope for her redemption. And it's not clear how much of her connection with Ralph was genuine and how much of it was an act, though. Like, was she actually inspired by his transformation from terrible cop to hero, or was she playing him? It's unclear, which is honestly part of the fun. Like, the mystery, you gotta try and figure out what's going on here. But anyway, Sue locks Ralph in the vault and threatens to reveal his secret identity if he tells her parents what happens. Unfortunately for Sue, she runs right into Loring's gun-happy men on the way out of the bank. Thankfully, Ralph travels through the sprinkler system and lands in the lobby, and then shields her from the bullets right as they open fire. And the situation becomes even more complicated when Ultraviolet drops in, subdues Loring's goons, and goes toe-to-toe with Sue over the diamond, which is apparently connected to Black Hole. But honestly, what isn't these days? So during the fight, Sue sneakily slips the diamond out of the case and distracts Ralph and Ultraviolet with the empty box as she runs off. and once Ultraviolet realizes she's been played, she disappears in a flash of light, and then the Flash shows up to take care of Loring's men. Meanwhile, Iris, who's been banging against the mirror as Barry snuggles with Mirror Iris, she meets the presumed dead Eva McCulloch, who can't believe Iris is real. And it turns out Eva has been trapped in the mirror dimension ever since the night of the particle accelerator explosion, which sent her flying into the mirror. So she explains that the mirror must have created a duplicate of Iris when she came through, and that's what is currently roaming around the real world. And like I mentioned in my last Flash review, this Mirror Iris is basically like her reflection, so that's just how I think of it, and that's just an easy way to picture it, I guess. And as you can imagine, being stuck in this lonely place for 6 years has taken a toll on her, and she's lost all hope of escaping. I mean, every time she talks, she's touching her hair, and she looks like a mess. But I mean, being trapped in there alone for 6 years, that can do that. But Iris, on the other hand, refuses to give up and suggests they freeze the mirror to absolute zero in order to escape, because that's how Team Flash freed Barry when Mirror Master trapped him inside a mirror in Season 3. Unfortunately, the plan fails, and the mirror simply shatters into 1,000 pieces. And then they gotta come up with a new plan. So then Eva is even more disheartened and opens up about the pain of watching her husband Joseph Carver grieve her death before eventually moving on. And what's unclear is whether or not she knows Joseph is part of a huge criminal conspiracy called Black Hole. And at this point, though, Iris chooses not to share that information with her for some reason. And then Eva starts to get upset, and then suddenly one of the mirror shards flies into her hands, revealing she apparently has powers. So Iris encourages her to use her powers to rebuild the mirror, which shows Barry at home on the couch. And the way it's depicted in the episode, it makes you kind of think that Barry kind of briefly sensed that the real Iris was there, because he doesn't know that Mirror Iris is not regular Iris, but I don't know, I guess he just sensed something. Hopefully, Iris and Eva make it out of there soon, because Not Iris is making some suspicious moves. She goes after the mirror gun, which she claims will help her with her black hole investigation. And at first, Barry is hesitant to give her access since he's worried about it falling into the wrong hands, of course. But he changes his mind after he and Joe discover that someone on the police force has been helping Black Hole cover up murders for some time. So now the gun is in the hands of a mirror-created doppelganger who can't be trusted. So that's not good. But on the thing I was just talking about the undercover police force thing, that also ties into the Sue Dearborn storyline, because she mentioned that that the guy that was trying to kill her, whatever his name was, I kind of forgot, John Loring, I think, that he had people all over the city that were working for him, even in the CSI or the cops or whatever. So that ties into that story as well. But then, probably the most interesting part of the episode is that Nash Wells sees Harry Wells again when he descends into the Starchives to retrieve Harry's journal. And it's still unclear why Harry is appearing to him. Like I mentioned in my last review, it's probably like he's haunting him, maybe. And another thing is, like, is this the real Harry, or is this just Nash's imagination? Is he just seeing this? Because the showrunner for this season did mention that post-crisis Nash would be haunted by the mistake that he made of, unleashing the Anti-Monitor and everything. So, yeah, this was a great episode of The Flash. It's definitely diving more into the old style of The Flash, pre-crisis, I guess you could say. And I'm excited for next episode with the return of Grodd. So stay tuned for my episode review for that. And other than that, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hope to see you in the next video, so I can bestow all my DC knowledge upon you.